Marie-Claire Dagonier was a
You hear this?
28-year-old mother of two living a quiet
Super
life with her husband
savory.
in
Hold on, let me pause
France.
this. Super savory. I don't know what they're doing next door. They're like cutting up floorboards. They're just like redoing the entire house. It's so loud. It's been the most noisiest stuff ever. I have no idea what it is, but they're just eating up the whole floor over there. Clearly, it's causing a disturbance, and I don't have enough Japanese to tell them to shut the flip up. Like, anyways, hi everybody. My name is Spencer. This is another ACL Duolingo stream here on ACL.com, ACLacademy.com. Don't forget to check out some of this website. We're cracking at it again with a great, lovely morning of French. We're doing a French language stream. You can check it out here on the website ACLacademy.com. We're gonna your resource for learning languages. Anyone can learn's mission is to break down cultural barriers for effective communication with every and any language, and our vision is to redefine language learning for everyone, everywhere. Here's a podcast for those learning English vocabulary. Here's the language labs and Duolingo streams. We've done Japanese, Dutch, and now we're doing French today. Here are the language lessons. Lesson A for a free talk conversation, lesson B for a book lesson. I write the books myself and the lessons myself, and C in essay writing class. Press the button for more information. And if you use my link in the description, you get $10 for signing up for the first time. Check out the blog. We'll keep you up to date with what I'm doing and what we're doing here on ACL, followed by the experimental Japanese class, which I'm putting together for those learning Japanese on a budget. Here are the books. I have them translated. Reach out to me. Nice to meet you. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do some French here. We're going to play some of this French podcast. Go.
Then, one day, le facteur, her mailman, delivered a letter with an unusual stamp.
Tout de suite, j'ai vu que cette lettre était différente. Sur l'enveloppe, le timbre était américain. Dans l'enveloppe, il y avait une lettre écrite à la main.
Handwritten letter, huh?
Marie-Claire didn't know
En
anything about
anglais.
America, and when she tried to read the letter,
Paul est en Europe.
the letter was written in Vietnamese.
Vietnamese.
J'ai vécu au Vietnam
Paul
jusqu'à l'âge
is
de 6 ans.
in Europe.
Alors, j'ai reconnu l'alphabet vietnamien.
Je m'appelle Alice, j'habite en Espagne.
Malheureusement, je ne sais pas le lire.
Enchanté, moi
ou
c'est
l'écrire.
Marc. J'étudie en
Alors, je ne
Angleterre.
pouvais pas lire la lettre.
Marie-Claire didn't
En
know
Europe.
anyone who could read Vietnamese,
En Europe.
but she
Oui,
remembered one
en
Vietnamese
Angleterre.
man who worked in a photo store nearby. So she brought the letter to him.
En
L'homme
Europe.
Je suis en Europe.
Il l'a lu en
Je
silence.
suis en Espagne. Europe.
Il avait
Read and
les larmes aux
respond.
yeux.
Camille habite en
Il m'a
Espagne
dit,
et elle étudie
c'est ta maman.
le français avec Duo.
Elle te
Elle
cherche
travaille
depuis
beaucoup.
plus de
She
20 ans.
works a lot, huh? Word. Camille.
Bienvenue and welcome to the Duolingo French podcast. I'm your host, Ngofen Mputubuele. Every episode, we bring you fascinating true stories to help you improve your French listening and gain new perspectives on the world. The
Really?
storyteller will be using intermediate French, and I'll be chiming in for context in English. If you miss something, you can always skip back and listen again.
No, always get
We
back.
also offer full transcripts at podcast.duolingo.com.
Au revoir. Bonne journée.
Marie-Claire
Avec
stared back
elle.
at the shopkeeper.
Toi.
Just told her her mother had been
Comment?
looking for her for more than
Un.
20 years. Tears were rolling down his cheeks.
Paul
He was stunned.
Je
est
ne
en
savais pas
Europe.
pleurer.
Oh, what?
Je n'ai pas pleuré. Je n'ai rien dit. Je n'ai rien fait. J'ai pris la lettre et je suis rentrée à la maison.
I get it. I get it.
Je
Though the letter came as a shock, Marie-Claire had known for some time that the
travaille
man
en
and woman who
anglais.
raised her
I get it. I
were
get
her
it. I get it. I
biological
get it. I get it.
Paul
Paul est.
À 10 ans,
est
j'ai commencé
En
à me poser
Europe.
des questions sur ma famille.
I get it.
J'allais à l'école du village. Une autre Notre petite fille m'a dit, tu sais,
J'allais.
ce ne sont pas tes vrais parents.
Even though they were the unthinking words of a child, they rang true for Marie-Claire. The man she knew as her father was French and white, and the woman
Tu
she knew as
étudies
her mother
ici?
was half Vietnamese.
Tu étudies
Je
ici?
savais que
Non,
j'étais
je
née au
suis
centre du
étudiant.
Vietnam. Pendant la guerre, nous étions partis pour
Salut,
venir
comment ça
en
va?
France.
Tu étudies ici
Quand j'avais
à Paris?
6 ans.
Moi, je suis Ben.
Alors, je me
J'habite
posais des
ici
questions.
et je travaille à
Je les écrivais dans mon journal.
l'université.
One day, when Marie-Claire was about 14, her father read her journal, and the situation exploded. Her parents admitted that she was adopted.
Ils m'ont dit,
Cette
ta mère
Alice,
t'a abandonné.
elle travaille ici
Ta
en
mère
France.
n'est pas quelqu'un de bien. Nous t'avons sauvé.
Even though Marie-Claire's adoptive parents claimed to have saved her, their relationship was never the same.
Ensuite, la relation avec mes parents est devenue très difficile.
Oh, sad podcast.
À 16 ans, je suis partie de la maison. Et j'étais toute seule.
Oh,
Marie-Claire's adoptive mother died in 1992, and her adoptive father in 1994, when Marie-Claire was 24 years old. She was left to build her
C'est
life
Alice.
with the little information they'd given
cette,
her.
elle travaille en France.
Quand ils sont morts, je n'ai
Aïe.
pas gardé d'eux.
Al. Aïe.
Mhm.
Ce
Un.
passé qui me faisait
Espagne.
Non. Avec.
When Marie-Claire got back from the photography
Vite.
shop with that letter in her hand, she kept looking at the name the
Elle
sender had
travaille.
called her.
Tu étudies en Angleterre?
There's also a
Tu
name at the bottom of the
étudies
letter.
en
Canada.
Angleterre.
Tu étudies beaucoup.
There was a phone number below it.
J'ai
Oh.
regardé le numéro
Oh.
de
Oh.
téléphone.
Elle étudie en
I got it.
Angleterre.
I got it right the first
Au
time.
début, je
Si.
ne voulais pas appeler cette femme.
She
J'avais
is
besoin de
staying
temps.
in England.
Mes
Elle
parents
étudie en Angleterre.
m'ont toujours dit, ta mère t'a abandonné.
Hmm.
Elle était méchante.
Julia.
Julia.
j'habite-
Si voulais
Je.
parler.
It took Marie-Claire 2 months to work up
J'étudie.
the courage.
Je.
Non, non. Julia étudie en.
Étude en
Dialed the number.
Espagne.
Elle étudie beaucoup. Elle étudie beaucoup.
Julia est. Julia.
She listened to the faraway sound of a
Julia.
long-distance ringtone.
Étudie
A woman
avec
with an elderly
Louis.
voice.
Louis. On. Oh. On.
Quand ma mère a entendu ma voix, elle a commencé à pleurer. Elle m'a demandé en vietnamien, c'est vraiment toi, Hom? J'ai répondu oui. Alors elle m'a dit, maintenant je peux enfin mourir.
Now I can finally die.
Marie-Claire was shaken by her birth mother's emotion and by hearing the sound of her voice for the first time. But she also had so many questions.
Un journaliste.
Je n'ai pas pleuré.
I
Je
did not
voulais
cry
tout
like a
savoir
gangster.
sur mon histoire.
She's like, I did not cry.
Tien told Marie-Claire that her father was a sergeant with the U.S. Air Force. They met when
She's
Tien
like,
was
I did
working at
not
the
cry.
American Air Base, where he
Bonjour,
was
je
stationed.
m'appelle Pauline, je suis étudiante à l'université. Et toi, comment tu t'appelles?
Lost touch with him.
Puis elle m'a parlé
Paul
de
et-
mes frères et sœurs.
Pauline est étudiante.
J'ai appris que
Oh,
j'avais
Pauline.
deux de mes
Pauline,
frères
étudiante.
et 3
Yeah.
demi-sœurs au Vietnam.
Je mange,
Beyond those
je
half
travaille, je
brothers and
mange.
half-sisters,
Ah.
Marie-Claire discovered that she also
Ah.
had a twin brother, or frère jumeau.
Frère
Il
jumeau.
s'appelle Tate, un frère jumeau. C'est plus qu'un frère. Tout de suite, j'ai voulu le connaître et savoir où il était.
Où il était.
J'ai appris qu'il vivait aux États-Unis, mais il n'avait pas de contact avec notre père. Ma mère et mon frère ne savaient toujours pas où mon père vivait.
In 1991,
Hmm.
Marie-Claire's twin brother and their mother had moved to the U.S. They had gone as part of a program for Vietnamese children of American
C'est Alice.
servicemen.
Elle travaille ici en
As she
France.
took all this in, Marie-Claire struggled
Un.
with one question.
Il.
Très.
Toi.
Je voulais savoir pourquoi
Italie.
ma mère
U.
m'avait abandonné.
U.
Je
Un
voulais
professeur.
comprendre
Un
pourquoi
professeur.
j'étais partie en France
C'est Paul,
avec mes parents
qui est
adoptifs.
journaliste.
Et
Oui.
pourquoi mes frères et sœurs
Une université américaine. Une américaine.
Marie est journaliste.
Mhm.
According to Tien,
I'm studying
Marie-Claire
with a professor.
been kidnapped.
Je étudie
m'a raconté
avec
son
un
histoire.
professeur.
À la fin,
Hmm.
j'étais triste et en colère aussi.
Emily est
Ma mère
professeur
était
en
très
France ou en Italie.
Elle avait 8 enfants.
Il est français.
Elle
Ha 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 ha.
travaillait beaucoup.
Oh crap! I was
Elle
right.
ne pouvait pas garder tous ses
À
enfants
home.
avec
Oh,
elle.
à home en
Alors,
Italie.
elle nous plaçait dans différents endroits.
Tian had worked as a maid for
Emily
Marie
est
Claire's
professeur en
adoptive
France
parents,
ou
a
en
wealthy French
Italie.
couple who lived in a big colonial house in central Vietnam. They had developed a liking for little Hong and offered to take her in. Tian accepted. She figured that they would be well fed and Tian would still see her every day.
Un jour, elle est arrivée à la maison pour faire le ménage. Elle voulait me voir, mais la porte était fermée à clé. Le couple était parti en France sans le dire à ma mère. Ils m'avaient emmené avec eux.
According to Tien, the couple left with Hong in April 1975, 5 days before Saigon fell to the advancing Viet Cong troops.
Oh yeah, that
French
happened.
citizens were being evacuated, and in the chaos of war, no one was checking children too closely.
That's true.
C'était la guerre.
Je.
C'était
Il
la
n'y avait
guerre.
pas de justice.
C'était la guerre.
Personne ne défendait les Vietnamiens ordinaires. Mes parents adoptifs voulaient me garder. Alors ils m'ont prise.
Marie-Claire's adoptive parents had faked a birth certificate, and they'd even gotten her birth date wrong by 2 years. The year she met her birth mother, she wasn't 28. She was 30 years old.
No.
C'était fou. Je ne savais pas quoi dire.
Étudie.
Sorry, that part of the
Now
podcast
that
was getting
Tien
deep.
finally found her daughter,
I was
she
like,
wanted to
oh
see her
dang,
as
that's
soon
getting
as possible.
super deep. J'ai
So,
étudié à
a few
30 ans.
months
Eh.
later, Tien booked a flight from California
J'ai.
to France.
J'ai.
Avec mon mari,
Tu habites à Paris?
nous sommes allés chercher ma mère à l'aéroport de Lyon. Quand je l'ai vue, je l'ai reconnue tout de suite. C'était la seule
Yeah.
femme asiatique. Elle était très petite,
Mm-hmm.
mais elle marchait avec beaucoup d'énergie.
Dis.
Je l'ai trouvée
Dis.
très belle.
J'habite à
Je suis
Paris.
allée vers
Et
elle,
toi?
Je l'ai
In
embrassée.
Paris and you?
Et puis, rien.
J'habite. Et tu habites?
Marie-Claire had
J'habite à New York.
I
what it
live
would
in New
feel
York.
like to finally meet her birth mother. But in the moment, she felt nothing.
Bonjour. Je m'appelle Elsa.
Beside her,
Je suis espagnole, mais j'habite à Paris.
Je lui ai demandé
Et j'étudie à Paris.
Elle avait attendu
Je
si longtemps
étudie à Paris.
pour me contacter.
Tien told her daughter that she'd been trying to
J'étudie à
find her
Berlin.
for years. She'd gotten hold of the couple's address in France through a relative in Vietnam.
Elle m'a dit qu'elle avait envoyé
crap.
beaucoup
J'étudie à Bordeaux.
Oops.
Elle voulait que mes parents
back hurts.
adoptifs lui donnent de mes nouvelles.
I'm leaning too far forward. I can lean back. My whole like body hurts. I have to lean like. I have to like sit a certain way. Okay.
Rejeter les lettres. Ils ne m'ont jamais rien dit.
J'étudie à Bordeaux. Habite. Étudie à Bordeaux. Tu habites à Bordeaux?
Now for
You
nearly
live?
2 weeks, sliding into her daily routine. She helped her cook meals and dropped her boys off at school. Still, Marie-Claire couldn't bring herself to fully trust this woman she had just met.
À la
No
fin de
better.
sa visite,
She don't know her.
ma
She don't know
mère
that
était
lady.
triste. Elle m'a dit, je vois que
Yeah.
tu ne m'aimes pas. Je lui ai répondu, ce n'est pas ça.
Tu
C'est juste que je ne
habites
te connais
à
pas.
New York.
J'étudie à Berlin.
Tien insisted on coming to see Marie-Claire again that Christmas, and she did. Eventually, Tien convinced her daughter to come visit her in California.
Studying in Berlin.
Partir en Californie, c'était difficile pour moi. J'avais mon travail. Mes 2 fils étaient encore petits et je devais m'occuper d'eux.
Salut Marie, ça va? Tu es étudiante ici?
Je suis partie seule.
Excusez-moi, tu parles anglais?
Marie-Claire had hoped to meet her twin brother during that trip, but he was on the road a lot.
Excusez-moi,
working
tu
to send
parles
money to his
anglais?
own wife and daughter back in Vietnam.
Une
Ma
étudiante.
mère vivait dans la maison d'une famille.
Salut. Je m'appelle Max.
S'occupaient de leurs enfants.
Je travaille ici.
La nuit, elles dormaient
Et
dans
toi?
une petite chambre.
Tu travailles ici aussi?
J'habite ici.
Marie-Claire stayed with her
I
mother.
live here. I do.
They had one narrow twin bed, so
Tu
she
travailles
gave
ici?
the bed to Marie-Claire, and she'd
Tu
sleep on it.
travailles ici.
Tu travailles à Berlin?
Non, je ne peux pas te laisser dormir par terre. Je dois te montrer du respect. Mais elle a insisté. Elle s'est allongée par terre et je me suis assis sur le petit.
Il est étudiant.
Marie-Claire lay down on the bed
Honte.
and closed her eyes,
Honte.
but she couldn't sleep.
Honte.
Eventually,
Je travaille à Paris.
quietly lay
I
down on the
travel.
floor next to her mother.
Au début, je ne savais pas comment la toucher.
Oh, I
Mais je
work,
pense que
travail.
ma mère attendait ce moment. Elle est venue près de moi et je l'ai prise dans mes bras.
Honte.
Je sentais son
Honte.
petit corps contre moi.
In that moment,
Paul est étudiant.
Marie-Claire felt something shift.
Paul is a student. Paul est
J'avais
étudiant.
l'impression de me laisser aller. Je libérais des sentiments profonds. À mon avis, c'est parce que j'étais seule avec ma mère, dans un autre pays. Je n'étais pas en France, avec ma vie, mes responsabilités, mes enfants. Je me suis sentie libre. À ce moment-là, l'amour est né.
Ouh. Oui, je travaille.
At the end of the trip, Marie-Claire, or rather Hong, as she was beginning to call herself, didn't want to leave her mother.
Je ne voulais pas retourner à ma vie normale. J'ai réalisé que quelque chose avait été absent toute ma vie.
I get it. What's up, Mousy?
Revenir en France,
Hey.
pleurer pendant tout le voyage.
I love how how's the games? How's life?
After that trip, Hong, as we'll call her from now on, was determined to make Tien part of her life and meet the rest of her family, even her father if she could find him. But first, she decided to return to the
There you
place
go.
where her story had
There you
started.
go. I'll stick around in August. I have
Je voulais
some
comprendre
flight
qui
trips
j'étais vraiment.
in July and October, but I'll stick around, brother. I'll stick around for you.
In 2005, Hong
Let's
made
do
her
it.
first trip
Let's
to
do it.
Vietnam. It was the first time she returned to her birth country.
Hey, when's the last time you came out here? What's the first thing you want to do? Who you staying with? Where you gonna be?
J'ai
Let me know some of the
rencontré mes
deets.
demi-sœurs et mes demi-frères. J'ai rencontré la femme de mon frère jumeau et ma nièce aussi. On est allé voir la maison où je suis née. C'était une toute petite maison avec 4
You should stay alone, not sure this time. Let's get a
dans un
B&B.
village.
Let's get a B&B, yeah?
J'ai avec
You know, let's get a B&B up in Tokyo. We're cheap. I get them all the time.
Realized how poor and
I get hotels, B&Bs. I don't mess around.
she understood her mother in a different way and returned from Vietnam with a new sense of self.
Je suis très fière de ma
Yeah, man.
mère.
When we get closer to it,
Sa vie a été
let me know what it is. You know?
difficile, elle a
Let me know what it is.
et elle n'a jamais arrêté de me
I'll,
chercher.
your people tell my people tell your
Maintenant que
people,
je
you
sais
know?
tout cela, beaucoup de choses ont changé.
Finally, in 2012, 12 years after she'd been reunited with her birth mother, Hong raised a
En
child
anglais.
on a trip to meet her twin
En
brother
Avec Paul.
in California.
À Paul.
E. E.
Paul est en Europe.
On s'est embrassés. C'était merveilleux.
C'était
C'est la meilleure
merveilleux.
chose qui m'est arrivée
En Europe.
depuis que ma mère m'a retrouvée. Et moi, on s'est tout de suite aimés. Notre lien est venu naturellement. J'avais l'impression qu'on n'avait jamais été séparés.
Felt like we were never separate. June, July.
Hong's
I'll
long
put it here.
search for the pieces of her lost identity had taken her to California and
Mousy.
Vietnam. It ended in 2018 at a cemetery in Georgia. After taking a DNA test,
Come.
Hong had finally tracked down the name of her father.
Mousy comes to
former US
Japan
Air Force Sergeant
in
Edmund Lewandowski.
August. Let me put an
J'ai
alert on
appris
this.
qu'il était mort en 1996. Mais j'ai rencontré sa sœur et son fils, mon demi-frère. Je suis allée au cimetière
Boom.
avec
It's
ma
on the
mère.
calendar, bro. So I know you're coming. I know you're coming.
Dans la tombe de ce père que je n'ai pas
In
connu.
Europe. Je m'appelle Alice.
J'ai
J'habite
enterré
en
une mèche de
Espagne.
mes cheveux au pied de la tombe. Je suis restée devant, en silence.
Oui, je mange un pizza avec Psych.
After this
With
trip,
you.
Hong finally
À
felt
toi.
she was
Je
off.
travaille en Angleterre.
She now proudly goes by the name that reflects her family's full heritage.
I know that 3-day quarantine now. It's like it's like 3 days to a week. It used to be 2 weeks. It was wild. Why am I putting it in French? That's ridiculous.
Hong Dagonnier is a hospital worker living near Lyon, France, and 2 sons.
I'm
She's
working.
working on a book about her experiences and is thankful to have her entire family in her life. Hong
Oh, crap,
also wants to
England.
give a
English.
special shout out to a distant cousin named Annette O'Brien, who helped her track down her father.
Merci, Annette.
This story was produced by Lorena Galliot.
Up.
We'd love to know what you thought of this episode. Send us an email with your feedback at podcast@duolingo.com. And if you like the story, please share it. You can find the audio and a transcript of each episode.
Damn, this story was good. This stuff was fire. I was like, dang. Dude, they got some fire podcasts up in this one, man. I was like, dang. Duolingo really want to push your emotions.
With over 300 million users, Duolingo is the world's leading language learning platform and the most downloaded education app in the world. Duolingo believes in making education free, fun, and accessible to everyone. To join,
Dang, they dropped their whole mission statement in there. That's tight.
This podcast is a production of Duolingo and Adonde Media. I'm your host, Lofen Putubuele. À la prochaine.
À la prochaine.
Je habite
J'habite
en Europe.
Europe.
Avec toi.
With you, with you, with you, with you, with you, with you. Je suis en Espagne avec Gabriel.
Je travaille en Espagne.
I'm working in Spain. Madrid. Eh.
In 1998, the World Cup final featured the French soccer team,
Oh yeah, I did.
affectionately known as Les Bleus,
Les Bleus.
facing off against the world champions, Brazil.
Yeah.
Rom was 11 years old, but she remembers it as if it were yesterday.
J'ai regardé le match à la maison avec ma famille. J'étais dans le salon avec mes parents, des amis de mes parents,
Salon.
des voisins. Normalement, ils ne sont pas très fans de foot. Mais là, tout le monde adorait ça.
The French team boasted a diverse roster of players. In 1998, 11 men from different ethnic backgrounds and religions united in one common goal: winning the World Cup.
Winning the World Cup, baby.
18 minutes before halftime, la mi-temps, midfielder Emmanuel Petit kicked a corner shot. Zinedine Zidane, France's playmaker, jumped to hit the ball with his head.
Header, baby. Let's go.
Zidane had scored the first goal. He had marqué un but.
Marqué une
Je
but.
me souviens du premier but de Zidane. Il a marqué
Tu es en Angleterre?
Ah.
Tu
incroyable.
es en Europe.
Psych.
Espagne.
Psych.
Il a marqué
Angleterre.
le deuxième
Je
but.
travaille en Angleterre.
À chaque but, je courais et je sautais partout dans le salon. Après la victoire, les joueurs sont devenus des héros. Tout le pays était avec eux.
Oh,
For
Londres.
Marine, a lifelong
Oh.
passion for soccer, or as the French call it,
The sea was first. It was beating me. It was tricksing me. It was tricksing me.
The ideal of a France united behind its multi-ethnic team didn't include people like her.
It was tricks. Tricks are for kids here,
Soccer
guys.
could be a great uniter unless you were a girl.
Hmm.
Pour les filles, ce n'était pas très facile de jouer au foot.
Oh, why?
Il n'y avait pas beaucoup d'équipes et pas beaucoup d'endroits où on pouvait jouer. À 13 ans, j'ai dû choisir
If you ever leave.
jouer avec des garçons plus jeunes ou
Jeune.
avec des femmes adultes.
Oh.
J'ai vite
Étudie.
dans le foot, il n'y avait pas de place pour quelqu'un comme moi.
Why would you say
Je
that?
voulais
That's
que ça
mean.
change.
Tu dis ici? Non, je te dis
Bienvenue and welcome
New
to the
York.
Duolingo French
Non.
podcast. I'm
Non.
your host,
Aïe.
Just straight up, no.
Aïe.
Every episode
Elle habite
features
ici.
fascinating true stories to help you improve your French listening and gain new perspectives on the world.
Oui et non.
We'll be using intermediate French, and I'll be chiming in for context.
Salut, comment ça va?
You can always skip
Tu
back
étudies
to
ici, à Paris?
offer full transcripts
Moi,
at
je suis Ben.
podcast.duolingo.com.
J'habite ici et je travaille à l'université. Salut, Comment ça va? Tu étudies ici, à Paris? Elle habite à Paris.
She lives in Paris.
Oh.
Homegirl knows how to do the thing.
À l'école, je n'avais pas beaucoup d'amis.
Aww.
J'étais différente des autres.
Then be different, homegirl.
Il n'y avait pas d'équipe pour les filles de mon âge.
Really?
Donc je jouais avec des femmes beaucoup plus âgées.
Beaucoup plus âgé.
L'entraîneur ne me laissait pas beaucoup jouer. Je
Marc,
restais souvent assise sur le banc de touche.
Sitting on the banc de touche.
Sitting on the banc de touche. Banc de touche? That, why did I call it that? I guess that's a cool word. Mark.
travaille. Il travaille à New York.
He is working.
Certaines des meilleures joueuses ne me parlaient même pas.
Oh,
Elles
no.
m'ignoraient complètement.
Elle étudie beaucoup.
Je n'avais pas vraiment ma place.
Elle étudie beaucoup.
Julia étudie en Espagne.
What?
There was another reason Marine felt out of place in her teens. She was a lesbian. She
Oh.
wasn't fully out. After high school,
People just
she
be
came out
mad.
little by little, made new friends, and set soccer aside for a while. But she always missed it. When she turned 24, she moved
Tu étudies.
and started looking for a club to play with again.
Elle étudie beaucoup.
Je cherchais une
Elle
équipe.
étudie
Je voulais jouer pour
beaucoup.
le plaisir, sans compétition. Je voulais une équipe inclusive, pour jouer, mais aussi pour être moi-même.
The
Je
mom
parler des dégommeuses.
they digamers.
Marine heard about a women's
50-10.
LGBTQ team called Les Dégommeuses. They play soccer, but they also organize and participate in political events. This was exactly what Marine was looking for. So in 2013, she met up with the team's founder, Cécile, at a march for equal rights in Paris.
Je marchais dans la manifestation. On portait des pancartes pour l'égalité des droits. Il y avait une super ambiance. J'ai marché avec Cécile. Je
Wait,
savais
what?
qu'elle avait créé une équipe
It won't let me do it.
inclusive. Tout de suite, j'ai voulu jouer dans cette équipe.
What?
At her first practice with Les Dégommeuses, Marine knew that she'd found her people. She loved the team, but most of all,
It won't
she
do it.
loved the fun,
It won't do it.
collaborative spirit
English
she
to French.
witnessed
I'm doing it right now. He's.
Pour la première fois, je voyais une équipe avec
It
des
won't let me do
joueuses
it.
de toutes origines et de tous âges. Sur le terrain, je les voyais rire, s'aider, s'encourager. Je me suis sentie
There it is.
à ma place.
I put a capital H.
Marine immediately signed up to join them.
50 coq.
She translates Les Dégommeuses as the ass kickers.
Comment décrire les dégommeuses? Pour nous, le plus important n'est pas la compétition. Ce n'est pas de gagner des matchs. Non. Le plus important, c'est que tout le monde peut jouer. Et surtout, tout le monde doit pouvoir être soi-même sans se cacher.
What most appealed to Marine was that her new teammates
I'm putting this on. I'm putting this on Instagram.
old, young, athletic, heavyweight, short.
You weren't actually vegan. The joke was you weren't actually vegan.
Stereotypes of
I just got the.
femininity. Many of them identify as lesbian or non-binary, and players like them aren't visible in French football.
Dans le monde du foot, c'est comme si les filles comme nous n'existaient pas. Nous sommes invisibles. La Fédération française de football préfère montrer les joueuses qui ont un mari, des enfants, un style féminin. Il y a des joueuses lesbiennes, mais elles ne peuvent pas le dire ouvertement.
In France, women's soccer was banned until 1970. At the time, the sport was considered too masculine to be socially acceptable for women to play. Today, women and girls can play soccer freely, like the Dégommeuses do, but it can be challenging.
Parfois, des joueurs se moquent de nous pendant nos entraînements. Et souvent, ils commencent à jouer sur notre terrain, même si nous n'avons pas encore fini. Comme si on n'était pas là, comme si on était invisible.
One of her teammates once told Marine about a time Les Dégommeuses were harassed by a bunch of teenagers from a neighboring building.
This is a PG stream, my man.
Des adolescents
We got children here.
jouaient. Ils étaient dans un immeuble à côté du terrain.
The building was just above the soccer field Les Dégommeuses were using, and the boys had
It was
climbed
like-
to the 7th floor and opened a window.
50 10.
They grabbed
You're
some
like,
water
you're
bottles.
banned. You're banned. Hello.
Ils commençaient à jeter des bouteilles
Hi.
sur les joueuses. Et en même
Macy Yeet 404. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Un professeur travaille avec un étudiant.
Un journaliste.
Un journaliste. You're gonna have to do it. I will. It's gonna be comedy.
And the team want to take action. They believe that soccer is the best way to foster community and solidarity. So the team partners with a nonprofit.
Un journaliste. A journalist.
Build a new life in France.
Une université américaine.
You know, I'm hanging out. I'm managing. Nice to meet you. You studying French? You studying any languages here? Hanging out in Duolingo? University, an American university. How are you doing today, huh? Where you from? An American university. I don't know. How do you spell American anymore?
Bonjour, je m'appelle Pauline. Je suis étudiante à l'université. Et toi, comment tu t'appelles?
Paul est en Italie. Paul est en Italie.
J'habite en Italie.
I live in... Nice. I do Japanese on Duolingo. It's supposed to be now, but I decided to do French today. I'm going to do Japanese during my lunch break today. I have a little bit of space and I don't want to do the piano, so there goes that. But yeah. I do a lot of French, Japanese Duolingo, probably every other day. Let me see, where is my YouTube channel here? How far into Japanese have you gotten into?
For her, that weekly get-together at the Café des Sports became the key to a new start in France.
Which one is it? Where do I have my Twitch streams here? French. I didn't put my Dutch stream on here. I'm ridiculous. Oh, it's Dutch is here. Japanese are here. So over here, I'm what level am I in? Oh, there's a lot of Japanese ones here.
As she listened to Marine and the other players laugh
Here.
and banter, Marco's French started to
Nice, you finished the first checkpoint. I think I'm on the fourth one. I don't know. I don't remember. Let's see. Let me drag this to the end. I'm here in transit. This is my most recent one. This is like 2 days ago. Yeah, that's dope. That's what's up. Hey. You study French, Japanese for fun, or you Nihongo? How's your listening? Your Nihongo? Kikoemasu ka? I live in Italy. Oh, for fun, straight up. That's what's up. Yeah, I work in Japan, and I want to meet more Japanese folk where I can like make like doper YouTube experiences and interview folk. So you know, trying to make it while we fake it, and fake it while we make it.
Meanwhile, Marine was starting to notice a women's soccer team
Going to a language school in the future. Well, you're in luck there, Macy. I am a language school. Here, anyone can learn academy.com. So I could help you with that idea if you are curious. I do have beginner Japanese lessons, but it's experimental. So it's as free as it can be until I find like a pattern. But I started teaching. I started teaching English, and then I just kind of kept teaching English, and then I just started like discovering parts of myself that I wanted to do more than what I started doing, if that makes any sense. Emily est professeure en France ou en Italie. Yeah, man.
Il est
What? I
journaliste.
thought it was...
gradually became Marine's new soccer idols. The posters of French players teenage Marine once had in her bedroom gave way to a photo of Rapinoe spreading her arms triumphantly across Marine's Twitter page header. Whenever the U.S. women's soccer team faced off against France, Marine was torn.
Bien sûr, je voulais soutenir mon pays. J'aime l'équipe de France. Ce sont de très bonnes joueuses.
They were.
Je
The
suis
French
fan
women are
de
tight.
l'équipe américaine. Les joueuses n'ont pas peur. Elles se montrent comme elles sont. Toutes sortes de femmes sont représentées.
Yeah, but
Hétéro, masculine, féminine.
yeah, the American team was fire. They had everybody who was mixed. A Mexican university.
Une. Université. Américain.
Haha, jokes.
Mais
Je suis en France.
Paul est journaliste.
Where are you from there, Macy? Where are you from? Paul is a journalist.
On a réfléchi ensemble. On voulait faire une
Tu es
affiche
professeur?
pour le match d'ouverture. Quelque chose de très visible pour avoir de l'impact et un grand retentissement.
It was like to a professor.
So they set out to do something daring. During World Cup games, flags aren't normally allowed in stadiums.
J'habite en Italie.
Rainbow flag. Le drapeau arc-en-ciel.
Nice. Where I'm from California originally.
Had a plan. They bought big swaths of fabric, des bandes de tissu.
Nous avons acheté de grandes bandes de tissu de 6 couleurs différentes. Toutes les couleurs de l'arc-en-ciel. 12 bandes au total.
Dang, that's a grip.
Ensemble, les bandes de tissu formaient un grand arc-en-ciel de 6 mètres sur 5.
So y'all just made a huge rainbow?
Nous avons acheté 50 billets pour le match d'ouverture de la Coupe du Monde.
The day of the opening game, France played South Korea. 50 dégommeuses showed up all together.
Dégommeuses?
Green uniforms. The stadium was packed. They were thrilled and quite a bit nervous. They had to face a guard, le vigile, as he inspected their backpacks, their sac à dos.
Chaque joueuse a pris une bande de tissu. Cécile, Marco, moi, 12 dégommeuses en tout. Nous sommes entrés dans le stade séparément. Ces bandes ne ressemblaient pas à un drapeau. Alors si un vigile regardait
That's
dans
funny.
nos
It's just
sacs,
tissue.
il ne nous arrêterait pas pour ça.
Yeah, they're like just tissue. They're like, oh, okay,
One
whatever.
of the ringleaders was worried. What would happen if security stopped them? Would they get kicked out?
Because you can't bring a flag, so they just brought
Il y
tissues.
avait un peu de stress. Je ne voulais pas qu'il y ait de problème. On voulait tout entrer
That
pour
one.
regarder le
Emile.
match
I thought I
ensemble.
read Emile as in Emily.
Once the 12 pieces of cloth were successfully smuggled into the stadium, they seats carefully. They secured a block of 50 seats, and the players carrying the cloth sat on the top row.
On voulait montrer les
I know
tissus
people just get
tout
clever when they try to
quand
do
tout le
stuff.
monde pourrait les voir. On a choisi de le faire
J'ai.
juste après les hymnes nationaux,
Ja.
quand toutes les
J'ai.
caméras filment le stade.
Je m'appelle Thomas et j'habite à Bordeaux.
La Marseillaise. Right when
Enchanté Marie, je m'appelle Paul. Tu habites à Berlin. Berlin? Berlin.
sitting at the top row rolled out the 12
Dis.
cloth, and the players
Dis.
at the bottom caught them. The rainbow flag soared above their heads.
Nous avions les bandes
Je
de
suis
tissu
français,
au-dessus
j'étudie
de nos têtes. En
en
dessous,
Paris.
on ne
Tu
voyait
habites à Berlin?
seulement
You.
la couleur.
Do you
Orange, jaune, vert,
in
bleu
Berlin?
ou violet. Mais pour les spectateurs, les bandes de tissu
Spectateurs,
formaient un énorme
j'habite.
drapeau arc-en-ciel.
Arc-en-ciel.
Un moment collectif
J'habite à
très
Paris. Et toi?
Marine held her breath, waiting for a security guard to call them out. Miraculously, it never
50
happened.
disco.
The dégommeuses held the giant
I can't get
rainbow
over it.
above
It's
their
such a
heads
good
for a
one.
full 5
50.
minutes. You could see it from all around the stadium. The fast
That's a
icons,
classic.
A bold statement of pride in one of the biggest stadiums in France.
Like this.
Avec cette action, nous n'étions plus invisibles. Des milliers de supporters nous ont vus au
There
parc,
are children here.
mais aussi à la télévision, dans les journaux, sur Instagram, Twitter et Facebook.
I live.
Nous étions fiers de représenter
I live in
la
Paris, and you?
diversité dans le sport.
Elise est
Américaine.
américaine. Elle étudie à Paris
After a while,
et
they
elle
noticed
parle
people around them
français.
clapping, and even some cheering. People tweeted photos of them from around the stadium or posted them on Instagram. After the game, some people even came up to congratulate them.
C'était une ambiance très positive.
Do you live in
Les
Paris?
personnes responsables dans
Tu
le foot féminin ont toujours peur de ce
habites
que le public
à
pense.
Paris.
Mais le public,
J'étudie à New York.
il est déjà plus ouvert, plus tolérant, surtout dans le foot féminin. On est tous là
J'étudie
parce
à
qu'on
New
aime le
York.
foot. On aime le foot.
For Marine, moments like this make her want to work even harder to promote an open and inclusive
Tu
mindset in sports.
habites à France.
J'étudie à Paris.
Flippin'.
Gay players
J'étudie, j'étudie, j'étudie.
J'étudie à Paris.
J'ai vu des garçons porter le maillot de Megan Rapinoe. Quand j'étais jeune, il n'y avait pas de star du football féminin. Pour une petite fille comme moi, les seules stars étaient les joueurs comme Zinedine Zidane. Les choses commencent à changer. Cette Coupe du Monde me l'a montré.
Tu habites
et ça me donne de l'espoir.
What? I pressed it.
Tu habites à Bordeaux.
Well, we can always practice languages together. We can practice Japanese together, okay, Macy? Nihongo hanashimashou. Kaiwa hanashimashou. Just text me. Do you have Discord? Instagram? It all works for me. Let me know what it is. All my socials popped up. Yeah, you can hit me up on any of the socials. That was that was an okay podcast. It's okay. I'm a teacher. It's what I do. No worries, it's what I do. I help Japanese students every day learn English, and it's even more clever because now that I'm learning so much more Japanese, it like clicks how to help these students learn English. If that makes any sense. I'm like, oh, okay, in Japanese, this is how you'd say it. Like a perfect example, yesterday I had students who were confused with the idea of there was a picture, okay, there was a tray, and the waitress was holding the tray. Hi, Ali. Oh my God, we got famous people showing up. I love her. She is the best human on earth. Hi, Ali. Please enjoy the lurk. Thank you so very much. Chong Wang is famous for stealing my heart, but Ali is famous for being the best. There's a difference. She's the best streamer by far, hands down. You got to check out her egg stream, by the way. Thank you, my dear. So, to continue my story there, my she blushing. Oh, kawaii, right? I had a student yesterday. It was actually 3 students who were confused. There was a picture of a waitress that was holding a tray with drinks on it, and she was like delivering the drinks. And the prompt goes, hold the tray with both hands. So they were confused because they were like, they had their hands out. They're like, how do you like hold the tray, right? And I was telling them that like in the US, like we use the word hold to mean the word like grip. Like we would grip it. Like we naturally know to grip something to give it like a firmness or like a tightness, like hold on tight, right? Like hold on tight, which when you give strength to your hands, you're technically gripping. But we know to do this, right? So from what I learned in Japanese, there's no like natural way to say grip. Like you don't say grip that, right? You would have to say hold that, get that, touch that, right? I get it, right? So you would be like, get this, right? So then luckily the door was beside me, and I was like, I grabbed the doorknob, right? And I was like, am I holding the doorknob or am I grabbing the doorknob? And they're like, oh, you're grabbing it. I'm like, there it is. So when I'm holding the tray, am I holding the tray or am I grabbing the tray, right? And they're like, oh, that makes sense. I was like, yeah, because in Japanese, you don't use the word grab, right? You use the word hold or get, to get. Versus in English, we would say hold, but we would mean grip, but we don't say grip unless you had to grip it. So it gets a little strange. And when I first taught this lesson like 4 years ago, I had no idea I had such a big struggle. And then I started learning more Japanese, studying more English, and I'm like, oh, that's why students are hella confused. So yeah, that's what it is. I'll help you with little nuances like that even American English speakers are confused with. What's up, sister? There it is. Oh, Ali's lurking. Chong Wang is the best. Let's go turn on the next podcast. Sister, this podcast right here is fire. This one is good. There was like 3 podcasts here. The one with the shark. almost got me crying on stream. It was hella good. Where is it? This one's good. This is a music one. The Surfer. Oh man, sister, if you have a chance, this one right here, cause it's in French, dude. It'll get you. It'll get you. I don't know if you need I don't know if you need to cry sometime soon, but this is a good one. And the one I just heard, like the first one today, fire. It was about this girl who got split up from her mom in Vietnam. Fire. This last one is okay. I'm gonna play this.
In the summer of 1982, Raja Cherkaoui El Moursli was living in France.
Salute.
She was 28 years old,
had
just finished a doctorate.
I know it's fire, Ali. It's super good. This one, it almost had me going. It's this one right here. So there was this young lady who was growing up in France, right here. I can't. Is this French or is this Vietnamese? But she had an adoptive parents in France. Both parents died when she was like in her early 20s. Then she went to go find her birth parents, who happened to be in Vietnam, and then she finds out that her family was actually, she actually had a bigger family. Like she had like a sister, like a twin brother, like she had this whole system, and then she was like super like concerned, like she was happy that she was able to reconnect with her family, but then she was really upset, like, why did you give me up? And she was like, I didn't give you up, like there was war. And like they explained it like so well, and I was like, oh my god, like this one was a really good podcast. So it's fire. I was like, dang, this one is my favorite. The shark one is my favorite. Oh my god, like it was 10 out of 10 good. The music one is cool. Everybody else is pretty normal. Damn, dude, the Duolingo podcasts here are sick. Like wow, these guys really know what to do, and it's for free. Like, come on. I wasn't even listening to this. Let's start it over.
In the summer of 1982, Raja Cherkaoui El Moursli was living in France. She was 28 years old, had just finished a doctorate in nuclear physics.
God damn.
And had been offered a job in a lab in Grenoble. She wanted to take the job, but her father said no. Come back home to Morocco.
Morocco?
Mon père m'a dit, non, tu ne peux pas faire ça. Tu dois rentrer dans ton pays. On ne reste pas à l'étranger après ses études.
Gabriel, enchanté, tu dis...
Il faut ramener ce qu'on a appris à son pays.
Je m'appelle Gabriel, enchanté, tu es étudiant, j'étudie à New York.
Gabriel.
Moi, j'étais jeune. Je ne comprenais pas vraiment le patriotisme. Je disais que le pays où on travaille n'est pas important. Mon père répondait, non, ton pays est ici. Mon père était très patriotique.
Tu travailles à Berlin?
Talking to a dog. I study.
J'ai participé à la découverte du siècle.
Do you work?
Et le Maroc aussi.
I forgot. It's a do you question.
Qui me rend la plus fière.
Je travaille ici.
Honte. Je travaille. Tu.
Oh, shit.
Marc. Est. Étudiant.
Je travaille.
How long have you been learning French? I've been learning French my whole life. My whole life, my man. And I recently picked it back up because I teach French here in Japan. I teach it online, and I teach French. So I've been studying it when I was a kid. It's more of my first language than English is. I didn't take an English class until I was in 3rd or 4th grade, and then I took it all the way into kindergarten, all the way into university essentially. So like 18, 19, 20 years. So I decided, and then learning French in California is kind of awkward. Obvious reasons. There's a lot of Hispanic language out there. And then I grew up also learning Tagalog, which was also the main language of my family. So like learning French is a very like hyper like learned type of like focused learning, but it made it as I got older. When I got into my 30s, I recognized that French is a very strong base to learn other languages, right? And the thinking helped me understand like other things. Maligayang pangdating. Oh well, then yeah. I'm very happy you're here too. Nice.
Her teachers encouraged her to continue her studies. Her French teachers wanted her to go study.
Well, I'm glad you're here too. Yeah. Well, don't forget to hit me up. If you have Instagram or something, hit me up on Instagram and we can connect. I'll help you with Japanese. You know, I'll help you with any questions you got if you're doing French or anything silly. You know, I'm here for languages too.
Qui veut envoyer sa fille dans l'inconnu toute seule? La refuser.
Raja pushed back. French universities had more resources and were stronger academically. Plus, studying in France would be free. She pushed her father.
Tu travailles à Berlin?
But that didn't work, so Raja and her mother called up the wife of a cousin to come to the rescue.
Je travaille ici.
Étudier à l'université. Et mon père a maman et moi, on lui a demandé de nous aider. Et cette cousine est allée voir mon père à son travail. Elle lui a dit: tu dois envoyer ta fille en France. Le seul moyen de donner un futur à nos filles, c'est qu'elles partent étudier. Puis elle a ajouté: tu dois
J'habite
En anglais.
je viens avec toi.
En Europe.
in Europe.
Espagne.
Espagne. Je m'appelle Alice. J'habite en Espagne. I want a pizza.
Il m'a donné mon passeport.
Bonjour Marie. Je suis Paul et je suis étudiant ici. Je travaille avec professeur Morel. Tu es étudiante aussi.
Attention, au début, je vais venir
Maligayang
avec toi.
pagdating.
Je ne peux pas te laisser partir seul à l'aventure.
What I miss Chong Wang.
It was 1975. Raja went to study in Grenoble, a city in the
Grenoble.
southeast of France, at the foot of the French Alps. She had pre-registered for an architecture degree, and she went to fill in paperwork at the University.
Oh, dude, I want a pizza hella bad. I was supposed to get a pizza yesterday, but I wasn't feeling like too good, so I decided to just like kick it a little bit.
Une femme a regardé mon dossier scolaire et m'a dit: l'architecture, ce n'est pas pour les meilleurs élèves.
I
Vous
work
êtes très bonne
in
en mathématiques.
Spain.
Je vous
Je
inscris
Travaille en Espagne.
physique.
Over the next 7 years, Raja worked her way towards a PhD, un doctorat,
A doctorat.
particle physics.
Particle
French
physics?
that
My
tries
man,
to
what?
understand the fundamental building blocks that make up our universe, elementary particles, or particules élémentaires.
Particules élémentaires. Particules élémentaires.
Sont à la base de notre
Talks like that. Who talks like that? Je suis en Espagne avec Gabriel.
la création de l'univers, la
Gabriel
structure
travaille à
de la
Madrid.
matière.
Nice.
Fascinant.
I'm studying in England. Are you though?
Raja
Je
loved her work. She also loved
étudie
life in Grenoble,
en
a student
anglais.
town that attracted people from all over the world.
Il y avait beaucoup de Marocains à Grenoble. Et j'ai rencontré mon
Je
mari.
suis en
Il est marocain. Mais on s'est rencontrés à
Paul.
l'université.
Paul est en Europe.
Paul est en Angleterre.
Working to finish her doctorate. She specialized in creating detectors. Her devices were used to find particles that other physicists had predicted were out there, but hadn't yet found. She conducted experiments, des expériences.
Les expériments. Je travaille en Angleterre.
Je suis en Europe.
Je suis en Europe. Whoops, can I spell today? Perfectamundo.
Raja needed access to more powerful equipment than what was available in her laboratory. So look to CERN, the European Nuclear
Oh,
Research
CERN?
in Geneva, Switzerland.
CERN is
CERN
fire.
is the largest
Non.
nuclear physics laboratory in the world.
Merci.
And it was just next door.
Le CERN est à 1 heure et demie de Grenoble en voiture.
Oh, she just drove there? That's dope.
Sont vraiment excellents. Ils ont des scientifiques de toutes les spécialités.
Salut, comment ça va? Tu étudies ici à Paris? Moi, j'habite ici et je travaille à l'université.
Nous sommes allés refaire notre expérience au CERN.
For Raja, CERN was a whole new world. A giant campus the size of 200 baseball fields, with streets and buildings. It was like a city within a city.
Pour entrer dans le centre de recherche, on avait un badge. On devait sonner à chaque porte. Il y avait une caméra pour vérifier
Ouch, 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 ouch. Ben travaille. Where does Ben work?
Raja spent 3 months at CERN. She made herself indispensable.
Oh, he works in...
Master of science, but she also knew how to run the heart. She had the right skill set. By the time
C'est
she
Alice,
finished her
elle travaille ici en
doctorate,
France.
she was offered a
Elle travaille
research
avec toi?
job in Grenoble.
Aïe.
Maybe.
Aïe.
Yes and no. No, 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 no. Alice est étudiante, elle est américaine, est-elle étudiante de français et en Europe? Alice is française. I am wrong. I'm just like so excited to click the button, okay, guys? Like if I read, I'd probably be way more successful in my life, like no doubt about it.
In 1982, Morocco was building new universities, and the country was actively recruiting Moroccan professors to replace the French colonial presence that
Oh, yeah.
Moroccanized the country. Raja
That
agreed to
time.
return, reluctantly.
Are you studying in Paris?
Tu étudies à France,
Psych.
Paris.
Julia étudie avec Louis.
Raja was hired to teach nuclear physics at the university in Rabat, but she missed doing research. After a year of teaching and settling
Marie.
into her new life back home in Morocco, she decided to reach out to her old colleagues in Europe. They started doing research together.
J'aimais être professeur de
C'est
physique,
Marie.
mais
Elle habite.
Julia étudie en Espagne.
comme une obsession.
Julia
On
studies
ne peut plus s'arrêter.
studies
Je
in
dis souvent ça,
Spain.
et les gens rient. Mais c'est vrai.
Elle
Moi,
habite.
si je ne fais pas de la recherche, je ne me sens pas bien.
Marc travaille.
At the time, CERN was starting to build a machine to understand the origin of the universe.
The origin of the
Physicists had a
universe.
long-standing theory about how it all started.
Alice
30
is a
billion
student.
years
Elle
ago,
est
an explosion of
américaine.
energy
Elle
particles
étudie
grew
le
and
français
expanded
en
rapidly,
Europe.
creating
Alice.
every matter in the universe. They called this theory the Big Bang.
Big Bang.
La théorie du Big Bang essaie d'expliquer les premiers instants de l'univers. La théorie permet d'expliquer beaucoup de choses. Mais personne ne sait ce qui s'est passé juste
Alice,
après.
Alice est étudiante. Elle est américaine. Et elle étudie le français. Et sur Europe. Alice is what? She's a student, bro. She's a student. She's
Américaine.
American. I've been tripping. She lives in France. I'm in Europe.
Theoretical particle, something that could explain how the other particles came to acquire weight or mass in the aftermath of the Big Bang.
In the
En
aftermath.
1964, le physicien Peter Higgs a supposé l'existence
Bonjour,
d'une
je m'appelle Pauline. Je suis étudiante de l'université. Et toi, comment tu t'appelles? Pauline est étudiante.
avec les autres particules.
Je mange une pizza en Italie.
Ah.
Crée la masse,
Ah.
le poids de chaque élément.
Physicists call the
C'est
particles
Alice.
the Higgs
C'est Alice. C'est Alice.
boson
Elle
diffusion
travaille ici en France.
in honor of Peter Higgs' theory.
Dans la théorie de Higgs, cette particule existait juste après le Big Bang. Mais personne
Oh, you saw that John Wayne. I'll put it on the Instagram, bro. I told you I wasn't lying. It's like banned.
Si la théorie était juste, les physiciens ont commencé
Banned.
à
It's
chercher
like,
ce boson.
To find the Higgs boson, scientists needed to recreate
bro.
the conditions of the Big Bang. So CERN set out to build the biggest machine ever made, the Large Hadron Collider, a giant underground tunnel.
it's a classic. It's a classic.
C'était un très grand projet,
Banned.
très ambitieux.
Banned.
Tout le monde en parlait. Comprendre ce que l'on
C'est
cherche,
banned.
puis développer une méthode pour le trouver.
C'est Thalys.
La théorie
Elle
et
travaille
la
ici en
pratique en
France.
même temps. Moi, j'adore ce genre de recherche.
J'adore ce con.
Collider's underground tunnel, CERN scientists would speed up particles close to the speed of light and make them crash into each other.
Or just make them smack into each other, right?
Back in Morocco, Raja was eager to join the hunt for the Higgs boson.
Je ne pouvais pas rejoindre le CERN parce que ce centre de recherche ne travaille pas directement avec des scientifiques. Il travaille avec des pays qui sont membres ou membres associés du CERN.
Are you a professor?
J'avais
No.
envie que le Maroc participe à ce projet. Découvrir
Tu
le
es
boson de Higgs.
Une université américaine.
An American university.
To make Morocco a CERN member state. That would require a large amount of time, money, and organization, and the green light from the Moroccan government.
Yeah.
She got a lucky break when the Minister of Higher Education was replaced with someone she knew.
Le nouveau ministre de
Dang, just like that.
l'enseignement
That's who you know, buddy. It's who you know.
était un mathématicien de mon université. Je l'ai contacté pour prendre un rendez-vous. Il me connaissait. Alors il a dit oui, elle est
France
sérieuse.
ouse en
Je veux
Italie.
la rencontrer.
Et les
Raja
Français.
came to the meeting with a representative from CERN. She was nervous because the
Une
meeting would make
université
or break.
mexicaine.
Raja argued her case like a lawyer. The minister saw how the discoveries made at CERN
Il est professeur.
to Morocco.
Je lui ai dit trouver un boson de Higgs nous aidera à comprendre l'origine de notre univers. À la fin du rendez-vous, il a dit si vous faites une découverte, cela donnera de la visibilité au Maroc, plus de visibilité que 10 ambassadeurs marocains. Et
Dang.
puis il a dit d'accord.
Dang, you gotta prove it.
De vous soutenir.
Dang, she's gonna do it.
Tellement content. Pour nous, c'était difficile à croire.
Dang, she took the challenge, dude.
Paul est journaliste.
Morocco had to pay to join CERN and wouldn't support just one or two scientists. She needed a network.
Yeah, that's comedy. So they're like, we need you to prove that to do this thing. So she was like, no one's done it. So she was like, if you do it, then we'll pay for it. But you're gonna have to do it first. She's like, all right, we'll do it then.
On a trouvé des
Homegirl's BA.
et des expérimentateurs. Ils ont accepté. Et on a créé
Paul est journaliste.
national d'une douzaine de personnes. C'est ce réseau qui représente le Maroc au CERN.
It took Raja nearly a decade, but in 1996, Morocco joined CERN, the first state from the African continent to do so. The Moroccans some 2,000 scientists around the world that would try to detect the Higgs boson. Raja's team, however, had to deal with issues that others did not.
Au Maroc, on faisait tout. Les autres pays, comme la France, avaient des chercheurs, mais aussi des techniciens et des ingénieurs pour construire les détecteurs. Mais à l'université, nous n'avions pas de techniciens. Alors, nous
That's
avons
what girl
construit
sucks. I went to sleep early too.
nos
Come on.
appareils. On faisait tout seul. De la théorie jusqu'à la construction.
G. Ja.
The Moroccan team
G.
brought the devices they built to Switzerland to be
G.
tested. So Raja returned to CERN, nearly 15 years after she'd been there as a grad student.
Tout avait changé au CERN. Ils avaient construit un bâtiment spécial pour notre expérience.
Nice.
C'était impressionnant. Il y avait des personnes
Dis.
qui venaient travailler au
Dis.
CERN, de partout dans le monde.
Bonjour. Je m'appelle Elsa. Je suis espagnole, mais j'habite à Paris. Et toi?
J'étudie à Berlin.
Je voyageais beaucoup.
I'm studying.
Mes 3 enfants se sont habitués à voir leur maman travailler. Je partais en mission et pour eux, c'était
I'm
normal.
studying.
Mon mari comprenait et ma mère l'aidait à s'organiser avec la maison.
Tu habites à Bordeaux?
J'étudie.
Il fallait attendre le résultat de beaucoup d'analyses. Nous devions être certains que cette découverte n'était pas une erreur électronique
Oh crap.
ou statistique.
Oh crap, crap. That's right. The city. I know.
J'étudie à New York. Et toi?
Nous avons appris l'existence du boson de Higgs longtemps avant l'annonce officielle. J'étais contente, mais aussi impatiente de pouvoir partager la nouvelle.
I live in New York.
En 2012, enfin,
J'habite.
le CERN a fait l'annonce. C'était vraiment la particule imaginée par Peter Higgs en 1964.
The theory had been proven.
Come on.
And the discovery won the Nobel Prize for Physics.
Dang.
It was awarded to the living scientists who had predicted the existence of the Higgs boson back in 1964.
Les théoriciens ont reçu le prix Nobel, mais le jury de ce prix a aussi reconnu que les expériences étaient très importantes. Elles ont aidé à prouver la théorie. Donc, ils ont cité l'expérience sur laquelle nous avons travaillé.
For Raja, having her team mentioned on stage at the Nobel ceremony, it was an extraordinary feeling. It was a scientific accomplishment. It was also a major recognition for Morocco.
Hello.
She had worked so hard to
Nice to meet you,
evolve
Caleb.
the discovery.
On m'appelait au téléphone et on me disait « Alhamdoulilah ». Cela veut dire « Dieu merci » en arabe.
J'étudie à New York.
Je voulais que mon pays participe à
Et
cette
toi?
découverte. Et j'ai dû beaucoup travailler pour y
Do you live in
réussir.
Bordeaux?
Cela a demandé du temps et de la persistance. Mais finalement,
Tu
le Maroc y a participé.
habites?
J'en suis très fière.
Ah.
Une découverte aussi extraordinaire.
Bordeaux. Nice to meet you, Caleb. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. My name is Spencer. Bordeaux.
Raja continues to do research with CERN and teach.
You know, I'm managing. You know, life is a crazy place. It's unpredictable, so we do our best to manage through it, right? So I'm managing. I got work. I have a Dutch lesson and a Japanese lesson in about 40 minutes, and then I gotta go teach English and French, like later in the afternoon. Mood, you know, it's a time, you know. Life is life, you know. It's just, you know, and I'm the kind of guy who doesn't like learn from lessons because I'm like an idiot. So it's like I'm just like, great, we're gonna go through this cycle of mistakes again.
You can also subscribe at Apple Podcasts or your favorite listening app, so you never
It just feels so good in the moment.
With over 300 million users,
I can, je peux parler le français aussi. You coping, Chow Wang? I know, right?
Duolingo believes in making education free, fun, and accessible to everyone. To join, download the app today or find out more at duolingo.com. The Duolingo French podcast is a production of Duolingo and Adonde Media. I'm your host, Gofen Duwele. À la prochaine.
À la prochaine. Are you learning French? That's what's up. Well, hey, I am a French teacher. I'm going to plug myself just because I can. Anyone can learn academy.com. I do have a French class. Bang. I don't know how deep into the French you're. I'm doing beginner and a little bit of like early intermediate, depending on like transitions and conjugations and stuff. Masculine, feminine is when I start to tell people that's where this is going to get a little bit more advanced. But I do have an italki link here. It's just a plug. I have to plug anytime someone's talking about stuff. You get $10 extra if you sign in with a link, yeah? There it is. Hey, you got to plug, you know what I mean? You got to plug. You know, you got to do the thing. You got to do the thing. You know, I don't want to work for corporations no more, man. I ain't trying to work. I ain't trying to work for nobody no more, man. You know? Yeah. You know, I've been working minimum wage for like my whole damn life, like 35 years. You know, I'm tired of that. If I'm going to work minimum wage, it's going to be for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I see my life now. I was like, I've been working minimum wage for somebody else. I'd rather work minimum wage for me. Because that's what I've learned in this life, man. You can't work for nobody else. Why are you learning French, man? For fun?
David had turned into his alter ego, Sputnik the clown.
Sputnik.
He had put on golden shorts, white makeup, and of course, a red nose. And now
it was not Spanish. It was not Spanish. I don't get it. You didn't want to learn Spanish? Do you know Spanish already?
David wanted to make sure his clown world and his world as an engineer never overlapped. He worried that if they did, he could face embarrassing questions at work. But clown was his passion. So he was living a double life.
That's funny. The undercover clown. Oh, I got you. I taught myself Italian, and the only two classes at school were Spanish or French. I prefer French over Spanish, and the French teacher is way better. Well, then there you go. Life is good.
Bienvenue and welcome to the Duolingo French podcast. I'm your host, Ngofen Mputuwele. Every episode, we bring you fascinating true stories to help.
Oh, you can help me with my Spanish when I get there.
And gain new perspectives.
Nice. Well, then you have a partner to work with, yeah? You can always text me. We can always work together, all right?
In English. If you miss something, you can always skip back.
Connect with me on Instagram. You know, get on me on Instagram. We can always practice. I have a few students, especially here in Japan, who want to study French, and I teach French out here. So I have a student specifically who all we do is send voice notes to each other. She's a lovely young lady. Where is it? Yeah, so we just send like voice notes all the time, and it's like all French, like back and forth. So it's like really, really nice. So I practice, she practices, everybody practices, right? And I also do this in Dutch and in Japanese. So I do this in a bunch of different languages with a bunch of different friends and students. So if you're interested in practicing, man, let me know. I'll be out here. Tu étudiants ici?
Je m'appelle Gabriel. Enchanté. Tu es étudiant? J'étudie à New York.
Hey. You can do it. You can do it, my man. You can totally do it. I've met a constant stream of folk here in Japan and in Europe and in the where are you from originally? So I've traveled to Europe and I've traveled a bunch of places in Asia, and everywhere in the world, American straight up. I'm from Cali. What I've learned is that hella people outside of the US speak hella languages. Like, if you want to push yourself to learn another language, I highly recommend going to like another country and like just bumping into folk who just like, because most likely they speak 2 languages. Most likely they speak 3. like everyone automatically speaks like American or English, and it's like really interesting because you're like, whoa, like you speak English too, like you speak that language, like you run into a Japanese person who loves like J-pop or K-pop, for example, Korean stuff. Then they're gonna know Korean plus their language and English because they're talking to you. You're like, you speak 3 languages, and in their head they don't see it that way. You know, you go to Europe, you have these people who speak like Dutch, French, Spanish, and they're like, dang, like, shoot, it's weird. You know, I have a feeling that what I want to do in this life is build my school, come back to the United States and be like, look, like we need to be learning languages, guys. Like this is what we got to do. That's what I feel ACL Academy, like my own company here, is trying to push into that future. You know?
Honte. Honte.
Tu travailles ici?
En. En.
Je commence à travailler avec ma puce IA. Je l'encourage pour qu'elle saute. Mais le professeur m'arrête et me dit: vous n'avez pas de puce. Vous pensez que nous sommes des idiots?
Je travaille à New York.
On parle beaucoup du bide dans la théorie.
Yeah, so I recommend if especially if you're going for 6, there, Caleb, if you're going for 6, you got to be working with, you got to get like working with other folk, especially overseas. Because everybody speak hella languages out here, man. I go to Europe, people speak hella languages. Like everywhere in Asia, people speak hella languages. You know, I spent 30 years being so upset that I learned French instead of Spanish. And then out here, French was a commodity. French was beautiful. French was like a language that no one saw coming, especially coming from me, when it's like I look Asian and I'm in an Asian country, so everyone assumes that I speak whatever Asian language is here, and I'm like, guys, I'm learning Japanese. And they're like, oh, okay, you're American, like you don't speak anything else. And I was like, well, I do speak French. And they're like, whoa. And I went from speaking French to like teaching French, because you know, it becomes a commodity, it becomes special, because there are students, there are people who want to know that. So my man, like 6 languages, you got this, my man. I just started Dutch like 2 weeks ago. I started studying Dutch 2 weeks ago, and then I have an Italian student who said the same thing. But I have a feeling if you keep looking, you'll find it. All right? Or if you don't look, you'll find it. Just stay on the path. Stay on the path of learning a language and everything that stay on the path of doing what you do best. Stay on the path of doing what you want to do. And the things that you want will come. Let's hear it.
Les gens ont une caricature dans leur tête. Le clown, c'est pour le cirque. Ce n'est pas sérieux. La sûreté nucléaire, ce n'est pas du tout un travail pour un clown.
For David, clowning was a necessity. It added balance to his life. He spent all his free time perfecting his clowning, going to shows, hanging out with other performers. But when he told his fellow performers he was an engineer, they looked down on his work.
Dans le monde du théâtre, parfois, les gens ne comprennent pas le monde des ingénieurs.
This is Italian, Russian, German, Arabic, Spanish, French. I want those languages too. I hope we could become very good friends, because I want to do those same languages. Yeah. So this year, it was supposed to be Italian. It was supposed to be Italian and French this year. It was a split between Italian, French, Italian, Spanish, or German. And out of the 3, I chose Dutch.
A friend encouraged him to audition for an NGO,
So
sends clowns into hospitals to perform
yeah,
for sick
yeah.
kids.
So what had happened was, so I have a language school here, right? Anyone can learn academy. And one of my coworkers from like 3 years ago, she contacted me out of the blue. She was like, "Hey, Spencer." So we used to work together 3 years ago. Then the pandemic hit, and she left back to her home country. Everybody left, right? And 1 year later, she moves to Italy. She's originally Italian, like her family's from Italy, and then she gets a job in the Netherlands. Now, she gets a job in the Netherlands 2 months ago, and in the Netherlands, her boss tells her, "You need to learn Dutch," right? So then she remembers. She was like, "Oh, like Spencer, you have a language school." So she calls me and she's like, "Hey, Spencer, like, I know you have a language school. Like, do you teach Dutch?" And then I'm like, "Dutch? Like, I teach French, Japanese, English, Filipino. Like, I teach sign language. Like, what do you, Dutch, right?" And she was like, "Yeah, if you're teaching Dutch, I need to take Dutch for my job." And I was like, "Well, I guess when I learn Dutch, I'll let you know when we're teaching it." And she was like, "All right, well, let me know as soon as you can." And then she, like, we still talk. And then, like, I was like, okay, if she needs to learn a language, right? Like, she needs to learn it like now. She needs to learn it. She needs to use it. She needs to speak it. She needs it like for her life. So then I thought to myself, this is a perfect opportunity to have someone that's a language partner, right? Like, if she needs to learn a language because it's going to help her benefit her life, right? Then why don't I learn Dutch to help me in this part of my life for learning languages? And because it's part of my main goal, right? It's true, but it's very true. It's not as hard as other languages. There is some difficulties though. But what's really interesting is that she can become, like, because we're both learning, it'll be like a soft barrier, like communicating with each other, like practicing and whatnot. And she needs a language. It's a requirement. Exactly. So then I was like, oh, dang, like, here's a perfect opportunity for me to really, like, just step out of my box, because all the other languages that I have want to learn. Like, I have partners, but they're not as dedicated, because, everybody has a life, right? Everybody got lives. But she needs this language because she needs to learn it. And we've been talking a lot more recently. And she moved to the Netherlands with her boyfriend, and she's having a good life, but she's having a really hard time learning Dutch. So then I was like, let's learn Dutch together. So I'm very excited to study this language. I started 2 weeks ago. I got the foundations down by last week, and then I started taking Dutch lessons this week. In fact, I have my Dutch lesson in the next, like, 20 minutes, so I gotta go soon. And yeah, so it was supposed to be Italian, it was supposed to be German, it was supposed to be Spanish, but we went to Dutch. And I also found out TwitchCon is going to be in the Netherlands, so I want to go to TwitchCon in Amsterdam this July. So the goal... Oh, thanks for the follow. Thank you. I'm like, the what do you call this? Hey! Aww.
David committed to perform 40 days a year as a hospital clown.
Thank you.
His full-time job and his company.
Oh my goodness, you're too kind.
Show up at a hospital in the Paris area.
Too kind, you too kind.
Another clown, his partner for the day.
Dutch is stupid German, so it's very nice of you. You were so kind. But yeah, let's study languages together. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. You can always text me, especially if it's in the language. We have the same goal here. We have the same goal. I want to break down languages and to revisit how to teach it online and on the internet and with people, especially with a lot of folk. So what I do is I take a lot of the lessons that I learned and I turn it into little lessons, and hopefully TwitchCon is going to allow me to teach, but we'll see. Right? Damn, I look good in this picture, my dude. But yeah, let's learn together. I actually have been translating my books out here too. So, it is what it is, and I hope you have a great rest of your time studying. If you have any questions, how you study, let me know, because it might be better than how I study.
Wore a costume that accentuated his long, thin frame. Lengthening, l'allongement, was his trademark look.
J'avais un legging violet et un mini short doré. J'avais aussi une très grande cravate
mother flipping.
plus longue que mon short. Tous ces éléments donnaient une impression d'allongement. Et sur ma tête, j'avais un signe particulier. 2 petites antennes. Au bout des antennes, il y avait une lumière brillante.
Once transformed, Sputnik and the other clown would parade in the hospital hallway, then go into
Oh,
They'd
étudiant as a girl.
3 children in a day. For each one,
What?
the clowns came up with something special. David remembers improvising and miming a picnic for a girl who had been in the hospital for several weeks.
De façon totalement imaginaire, on a sorti une grande couverture, des sacs, des sandwichs. Puis, on a imaginé un orage. Il pleuvait. Alors, on a...
The little girl was delighted. And during the imaginary rainstorm, David felt he was offering her an opening to the outside world, even if it was make-believe.
Cette fille ne sortait jamais de l'hôpital. Cette improvisation lui a permis d'en sortir.
Come on now.
Métaphoriquement. Nous avons ouvert
En anglais.
imaginaire.
En-
C'était très important.
J'habite. Je m'appelle Alice, j'habite en Espagne.
David was constantly juggling, no pun intended. Sometimes he would take breaks at the hospital to look at important emails and respond to urgent issues. One day, he had an evening meeting and had to hurry back to work after the hospital. He showed up with traces of makeup on his face.
C'était une réunion sur un nouveau
What do you
projet.
say something? I don't know what to say.
J'ai fait une présentation devant 15
What do you?
personnes.
I don't understand. You want to say something you don't know what to say, like in another language, or you just want to say hi? Anything's good, man. I'm not. It's hard to offend me. I offend myself
J'ai eu peur
on a
que les
daily.
gens trouvent ça bizarre.
Je m'appelle Alice, j'habite en Espagne. Nope.
And then one day,
E.
they did.
Je suis en Europe.
He was at
Want to
the
start a conversation in what language? In French?
for a little girl and her
Comment
father.
allez-vous? Right. So
Sputnik
when I
huddled into
every
her
time
room,
I
the father
sp-
stared at him
work with all of my language tutors. Do you work with any like tutors? Like you have any teachers? What I do is I have a Google Translate open, or sometimes I have
que c'était un collègue.
like,
Il m'a dit,
well, it depends on where you want, or Forvo,
j'étais pétrifié.
Forvo.com.
Je ne savais pas quoi répondre.
Just a
J'avais
French
pas osé.
teacher. Yeah, Forvo is really good too. I can help you with a lot of sentences, or sometimes I even use
J'ai essayé.
Closemaster to build like a
Le plus
sentence,
important,
right?
c'était la
For like
rencontre
sentences.
qui
So I use a few of these to help me like get something started.
David left the room
So we
shaking.
can start something simple,
He'd
man.
been
Like,
very
qu'est-ce que
Maybe
c'est
this was a
votre
flop he couldn't
travail?
recover from.
What's your job, right? What do you work?
But afterwards, the father sought him out. He was a fellow engineer, an acquaintance from David's school days.
Right. So let's just put that here. Let's just put that here. Make it easy. What's
Il était très
your
surpris,
work, right? How about that?
mais aussi très content.
Quel est votre travail? Right? Qu'est-ce que c'est votre travail? Right? Just like that. Just put it in here.
This was a wake-up call for David.
Stick it in Google
He could
Translate.
run into anyone at the hospital,
Make
even a
adjustments.
colleague. But he also
You know, make
realized
adjustments. Like
it
I
might
wouldn't.
not
This
be
is
so
odd.
bad.
I'd say qu'est-ce que c'est, but
Après
Right.
cette rencontre,
like I get it. Like I you know, when
je me suis
when
dit,
people are learning a language, when students are learning, like it's always gonna be choppy. It's always gonna be wrong. It's always gonna be weird. It's always gonna be beginner. Like
j'ai eu
just
moins
suck at
peur.
it. Like especially when I'm practicing Japanese, like in my Japanese class in the next
The incident
soon.
helped David come to terms with his double
You know,
life.
I just shout out words until somebody says it's right or somebody says wrong. And a lot of my Japanese teachers are like,
He
we
studied
wouldn't
to
say
be
that,
suited
but I
for
get
this
what you're
role,
saying. How's that? I
just
know.
in case.
Aujourd'hui,
I know.
quelques personnes savent que je suis clown. Ils disent que c'est génial.
Yep.
Pour
I
moi,
usually,
c'est
yeah, just
choquant.
open up Google Translate, put what you want to put in there, and then
Je
like
commence à
make
comprendre
adjustments.
les choses
I'm not amazing at Italian, only B1, but I can say most stuff. But Italians understand what I'm saying. There you go. See? See? That's just like that. That's exactly what I'm saying. I do that exactly in Japanese. I went to City Hall yesterday. I went to City Hall in my hometown. And I was like, hey, I need this. And they're like, okay, like, you need to fill this out. I was like, cool. And then they're like, they said something, and I was like, I have no idea what that means, my dude. And he was like, it's chill. And then, like, the entire rest of the conversation, I understood everything in Japanese. It was so dope. He was like, hey, can you pay this today? I was like, no. When can you pay it? I was like, next week. He was like, okay, so we're going to give it to you today, but we need you to pay it next week. And I was like, cool. Thank you. Right? Like, I had, like, a very moment. But there was, like, I remember there was this one thing, like, 90% of the conversation I understood. It was that 10% where I was like, I have no idea what that vocabulary word is. Apparently, it's a formal word meaning something government. My man, like, you know, so it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
David still works in nuclear security, and he still embraces the double life. He's currently developing a clown show in Paris featuring Sputnik. This story was produced by Sarah Elsass. We'd love to know what you thought of this episode. Send us an email with your feedback at podcast@duolingo.com. And if you like this story, please share it. You can find the audio and a transcript of each episode at podcast.duolingo.com. You can also
That's good. That's good. I started a little bit of what do you call this? I started a little bit of Russian back in the day. I had a lot of Japanese students want to learn Russian. It's if I had to like pinpoint what were the top languages that people want to learn, number one would be English. Number one, English, followed by Korean, and then Russian, like those three. But Russian and Chinese, they're like on the fence with each other. Nice. There you go. There he goes. I think Russian is one of the most beautiful languages. I agree. I think a lot of languages are beautiful. It's just hard to capture the beauty when the ear is so it's so like used to a sound.
Espagne.
J'étudie en Angleterre.
I live in England. What? With you. All right. I'm not gonna play another podcast. I have to actually wrap this stream up. I gotta go to my lessons. I have a Japanese lesson and a Dutch lesson coming up in the next 10 minutes. I gotta prepare for it. Right? But yet. The same says not quite accurate. It's yeah. Yeah, for reals, for serious. I completely understand.
En Europe.
Bonjour Marie. Je suis Paul et je suis étudiant ici. J'habite avec Marie.
No, you're never boring me. Never a bore. This was a pleasure. I welcome you. Please chit chat more. I was thinking about doing a impromptu stream during my lunch break today. It all depends. But I do appreciate you. Thank you for all the follows. Nice to have made your acquaintance. You and I have the same goal, so I have a feeling that you and I are going to become very good friends and partners moving forward. If you want to study any languages, If you want to practice any languages, you have all the information. You follow me on the socials. There it is. Like, let's stay connected. You know, I'm trying to grow here, and I need more language nerds. Okay, I need more language nerds in my life. So it's really nice to meet you. Let's finish this up.
J'habite avec Marie.
I live in England.
J'étudie en Angleterre. J'étudie en Angleterre.
What? Oh, I study. I'm ridiculous. Dun, dun. All right, guys, we are wrapping this up. Let me back this up just a little bit, hit the print screen. But we are done here for today, ladies and gentlemen. We have been doing our Duolingo streamages, learning French today. It was quite exciting. And it looks like I just want to say a good old thank you, shout outs to all the new friends. Close that. Let me see who was in the stream today. We're just going to say hi and goodbye. Mousy, thank you for showing up, Mousy. You're awesome. Let's set up something in August when you get here to Japan. That'll be the bomb. We'll get a B&B, okay? Don't stress yourself out. We're going to have a good time. And if you have a few days quarantine, I'll wait for you, okay? Macy, very nice to meet you as well. Thank you for showing up here. We can also study some French and some Japanese. Japanese does get a little weird, especially if you're learning Japanese as an American. It's super duper hella strange. You're going to have to turn off the I go to the store, the subject. You're going to have to turn that off. But there is something I've learned a little bit later in Japanese, that the word I, or like my or mine, comes in the middle. And that's why it makes sense dropping it. And I wish they taught that earlier. But in my Japanese class, I'm teaching that right away. Also, if you're taking Japanese for real seriously, I recommend getting into kanji immediately. Let me see. Macy. Ali, thanks for the lurk. Much love. Thank you very much. Check out Ali again, everybody. Ali Bay, she is a fantastic streamer. Does a lot of Among Us. Also, she's doing these wild things on stream. Very, very fun stuff. Check her out. My sister, she did a cool shout out. Plays a lot of Overwatch. We were playing some Overwatch last night for fun. And we're sending up another team first try game sometime this month or soon. We have to finish We Were Here. It's going to happen. Chong Wang, thank you very much for everything. Being the absolute chat of a lad. We're going to talk later. I talk to you every day, man. So get out my face. And Caleb, you've been nothing but awesome. Thank you so very much. Whenever time you should let Magic in the Air by Magic System. Shoot, let's do it right now. All right, I'm going to do it as I'm winding down the stream. All right, thank you very much, guys. Let's hit up. Let's go raid somebody. Who are we going to raid? Pecco? Are we going to go to Pecco? Yeah, I haven't seen Pecco in forever. All right, guys. Oh, I got language lessons soon. Oh, I do. Oh, I really do. Like in 5 minutes. This is crazy. I got Japanese. I got Dutch. I got to teach French. I got English. Man, life is crazy. Have a good night. See you guys either my lunchtime or tonight for Magic. Peace.